The main thing is just have fun. Enjoy the journey. Just have fun when you're rolling. Don't go too hard. Go nice and light. Don't get hurt. I think that's the one thing that kills most people when they're starting out. They get hurt and like, I got injured. I got to take 6 months off, and then they lose that passion, that drive. So just go nice and light. Enjoy it. Have fun. That's the main thing. Is have fun. If you're not having fun, you're not going to do it, right? Anything. Whenever I'm teaching self-defense classes to women or children, whatever I'm doing, on my list, my house, I have all the different things, details, progressive resistance. The last thing in bold letters I have fun. If you're not having fun, you're not going to remember things. I feel that if you're having fun, your brain will accept things easier or be more receptive to ideas. If you're having fun, you're enjoying things, you're laughing, you're enjoying things. So that's why whenever I'm teaching, I'm always trying to make jokes. I'm always being playful, so that if you're laughing, I feel that you're going to remember things better. So yeah, if you're being from the start to the end, it's not even to blue belt, to the whole journey. Enjoy it. Enjoy all of it. Have fun the whole time. Even as a black belt, my goal is to still have fun and enjoy rolling and meeting new people and stuff. So yeah, that would be my main advice.
Just keep showing up. There's no secret techniques or quick answers or shortcuts to it. Just gotta, like everybody says, keep showing up, listen, train, and make the most of your time on the mat.
You need to realize that the first 6 months is just going to be a humbling experience where you're going to get tapped out by 120-pound little ladies pretty regularly. So you just gotta say, you know what? Every day I'm going to learn, right? So practice is about learning. It's not about winning. Competition is about winning. But every day you step into the gym, you have to say, I'm going to try to learn something. And so about 10 years ago, I started building a philosophy where you try only one move every single time you roll for a year. And because, don't fear the man who's done 1,000 moves one time, fear the guy who's done one move 1,000 times, right? Mastery comes after you do it over and over and over again from every possible situation you can. So as a white belt, you start choosing one move that you're just going to do every single time you roll. You won't be successful every single time, but at least you're going to try. And I've done that every practice for the last 12 years. And with progression, the more you progress, the more you realize you really don't know. Once I got my black belt, I realized I know nothing. And so every day I want to be the guy in the gym who's trying to learn the most out of anyone. And if you can admit that other guys have strengths that are your weaknesses, and you can learn from them. It doesn't matter if they're white, blue, purple, brown, black, pink belts, whatever. You can learn from everyone if you're open to learning.
I just say don't give up. Like, keep working, do what your coaches tell you to do. And I think just get uncomfortable being real uncomfortable. Find those positions that you're the worst at. If you're bad on your back, I think for me, when I first came into jiu-jitsu, I came with a wrestling background, judo background, so I always like to be on the top. And I think one day it just clicked, like, I'm the worst off my back, so why not spend all the time in here working on my worst positions? And I think, to me, that's been the biggest help moving up, is developing my weak parts of my game. So I think it's consistency. I know it's hard with jobs, families to show up, but try to show up as much as you can. It's not about who's the best, but it's who's the most consistent is gonna learn the most, is gonna move up the fastest. So.
First thing I say is just keep showing up, and then second thing I would say is own your mistakes. Tapping is learning. Third thing, learn to relax. Kind of goes with the second. Find the technique. Let yourself get caught. Own when you get caught and learn from it. Don't just try to muscle out of everything. That's when a lot of learning happens. And that takes a little humility. So you kind of grow into your humility as you get better. Some of the most humble people I know are the black belts in the room. So, yeah, and respect.
I would just suggest to keep showing up to practice and train and leave your ego at the door and just be humble and just forget about the next belt and promotions and just focus on improving on on just yourself, improving your, like getting better every day. As long as you keep showing up and training, the promotions will come. But I think the main focus shouldn't be like your next belt, because you know you should want to train jiu-jitsu for the rest of your life. So eventually your promotions will come. Just keep showing up and training and focus on self-improvement. You know, like that quote from Cobrinha, like focus on improving, not proving. Like, so focus on improving and not proving to people, you know? So, you know, you don't have to prove anything to anyone, just improve yourself, you know? And the promotions will come, just keep training, yeah.
What about those people they say you're like in a contest or something?
I feel like, you know, that tournaments will help you probably get your promotions faster, but more of like self-defense aspect, jiu-jitsu to me, competition training will help you get there for sure, but I don't think you have to be a competitor in order to like get your next belts, you know, because there's guys out there that never train and they're really good and they don't do tournaments, but they're like black belts, you know. So I just feel like just as long as you just keep showing up and training, you'll get there.
Just don't focus on the belt. Just regardless, it's gonna come when it comes, and just keep having fun. As long as you enjoy training, like every belt's gonna come, and yeah, it's like it's more stressful when you're worried about getting promoted, going to the next belt. Your goal is just to have fun. It should always be just to have fun. Yeah. No, there's no special way. It's not. It doesn't even matter if you get tapped non-stop or whatnot. Just as long as you show like having fun and you're at least trying. Yeah, it's all pretty much the main thing. Eventually, everything will fall into place. Yeah, just I don't get frustrated. Leave the ego at the door. Just keep training. Yeah, and everything will fall into place regardless. Yeah.
Persistence, showing up to practice, making sure you're on time to that practice, and making the most of that practice. Not worrying about tapping people out, worrying about your defense, building that defense up. Once somebody can't catch you, the only thing left is for you to catch them. So as a white belt, you shouldn't be worried about tapping out everybody in the room, but just not letting everybody in the room tap you out. Once you accomplish that, then the real fun begins, right?
Well, like you're gonna show up, right? So first of all, show up and learn the fundamentals and like ask questions. Don't just go, oh, I got caught in that, and no. Just ask questions like, how did you catch me in that? Or, you know, ask somebody to just show you, oh, you got me in a certain position. How did you get there? Or what can I do to get better? But sometimes people just will say something and they're not really wanting to teach you anything. So I just say show up and be good at the fundamentals. Yeah. And defending. I'm still defending up to now. So, yeah.
So explain what are some of the fundamentals?
Maybe one fundamental, let's see. Maybe I should take it back. Maybe the fundamentals of just defending too. Yeah. So, but I guess to know the know the defense of a move, you have to know the move, right? So, I guess you would probably have to develop a favorite move, maybe, and know that basic one, maybe like the armbar. Yeah. So I mean, those are like your beginner moves, right? Armbar, triangle, yeah, or the rear naked choke or whatever. So I don't know. It's been so long ago.
Yes.
Yeah. That you know, being a blue belt. Actually, I like being a blue belt because that's where everything's fresh and new, and you know. And I wish I had more questions to ask. I kind of just learned the hard way. Yeah. And then later on, I just learned to ask more questions because, people would go, hey, you did this wrong. And so I kind of, took on people giving me advice. So you have to be able to be open to advice too. Yeah. And sometimes, you know what? It's not really about the belt. So, just because sometimes if you make it about the belt, you lose sight of why you started, right? Which is, I didn't start because my goal is to have a black belt. I'm just having fun, right? Because if you took away the belts, not today, would you keep on training? I would, because it's fun. It keeps you active, and I've developed a lot of friendships throughout the years, like on the mats and off the mats, and it kind of makes you face life like problem solving too, because you're problem solving on the mat. I don't know. That's how I see it. Yeah.
We get asked a lot about, what is the expectations of the various belts. And I like to kind of think that the belts is like going to school. Yeah, white belt is like our elementary school. We got to learn our ABCs. We got to get the basic understandings. Blue belts is like intermediate. Purple belt is like high school. Brown belt is like college. And then black belt is like specialty, like master's degree. So the question is, after you go through all these years of training, what are you going to do with it? Right? So black belt is actually the beginning. It's like, now you're out of school. What am I going to do with it? But a lot of times people try to think when they're a white belt, I want to do what the black belts are doing. But that's not how it works, right? A good friend, Desi Minor, said something that really made a lot of sense. Black belts eat brown belts eat purple belts eat white, blue belts, and blue belts eat white belts. That's the law of the jungle, right? Or nature of the beast. So if you come in as a white belt and try to tap out black belts or try to do what they're doing, you're missing the point. You're not learning. You're just trying to compete, and you're not going to be teachable. If you're a white belt, your only focus should be going to blue belt, right? If you're a blue belt, your only focus should be getting to purple, because every single phase has something you need to learn, not just about jiu-jitsu, but about yourself. So for me, a white belt going to blue belt, them coming in trying to tap people and that being their focus, to me, that's the wrong focus. Your focus should be on not letting anyone tap you. It's a different mindset. When you come in there trying to tap people, you're making them fight harder against you so they don't get tapped, because an upper belt is not going to get tapped by a lower belt, right? But I told someone in the military came in, and he always went so hard in one of my old schools, and all the guys kept terrorizing him because he just wouldn't slow down. And he kept getting beat up all the time. So I finally pulled him aside. He said, the reason why you get beat up all the time is because you're so busy focusing on beating them, you're not learning. I says, your focus should be to avoid them beating you. So if you can make them not tap you for 10, 20 seconds, then that's good. Then the next time they can't tap you for 30 seconds. Then the next time you can handle 1 minute. Then now you can go 2 minutes and they can't. That's progress. So your white belt phase should be learning how to defend yourself. Because if you can't defend yourself, you'll never survive. It's when you get to your higher white belt phase and start going into blue, now you know enough how to defend yourself that you can actually start attacking. There's no sense in attacking somebody if you can't defend yourself. So the whole purpose of jiu-jitsu is self-defense. That's what it was designed around. I always say sport jiu-jitsu is basically self-defense on steroids. You got to learn how to defend yourself before you start using the steroids, right? Or getting stronger and getting tougher and getting meaner, right? So you have to go in the order of the progress. You're not going to elementary school and start doing calculus, right? So the people who are trying to do that, unless they're ultra gifted, and I have a student, one of my students that is, we have certain prodigies that they're born in them. But that's not the norm. So we have to focus on where we're at. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the belt level when you get to blue belt. So I always say, if you think of it as a toolbox or school, right, or ABCs, let's say, for that to even make it easier. When you're a white belt, you're learning the ABCs. You got to know the ABCs. You got to know them in order. You got to know the sounds they make, right? When we get to blue belt, it takes a little longer at the blue belt phase because now we're going to take those letters and we're going to make words. So blue belt phase is learning to make those words. When we get to purple belt phase, now we're going to start learning to make sentences. That's where the combinations start coming in, right? We're not just doing moves anymore. We're getting those combinations and we're getting variations of combinations, right? Brown belt, I always say, is like making paragraphs. Now it's all coming together and making sense, and now I can go longer combinations and longer things. And then black belt is now you're going to start writing novels or stories. So it's really important that if you try to jump ahead and write stories before you learn basic grammar, you'll be a black belt that people will look and not respect. I mean, I'm sure we've all seen those. We've seen black belts get on the mat and you're going, that's a black belt. I don't know about that, right? Where'd you get your black belt? What kind of black belt do you want to be? What kind of purple belt do you want to be? What kind of brown belt do you want to be, right? One that people respect because of your jiu-jitsu and your ethic and the way you are on the mat. Are you a good partner? Or are you someone who's trying to kill everybody, right? I always tell my students there's two kinds of champions. Champions you look up to and respect, and then there's champions you can't stand. They're both champions. They both got good jiu-jitsu. But the question is, which one do you want to be? Do you want to be the person that's at the class where everybody lines up and says, don't worry, don't save me a roll, because they want to roll with you because you're so technical and smooth and they know they're not going to get hurt? Or are you the guy that they love you to death, but sorry, I can't afford to get hurt. I'm not going to go with you. Because I know a lot of guys like that. I love them to death, but they have no control of their jiu-jitsu. So the goal is to really focus on your jiu-jitsu and what's best for you and embrace the level that you're at. And that will help you get to each level faster.
What would my advice be to a white belt trying to get his blue belt? If I may answer this question this way, my perfect student would be between a wrestler and a college student. Reason being is because a wrestler understands the grind, that physical hardship that he needs to put himself through on the mat and that training. And a college student knows what it takes to study, to actually put themselves in a situation where they're studying the art as if it's a college class, you know, taking notes, spending time outside, studying their craft and stuff like that. I say it's not just a matter of a white belt to a blue belt. I think if somebody is able to show up to practice, first of all, every day, show up before, leave after everybody else, play the role of supporting jiu-jitsu in a whole, meaning understanding all of the supporting systems to jiu-jitsu, and literally just putting yourself in a place where you're really concerned about studying your craft, you know, putting the time in on the mat as well as the time in before and after practice, taking notes, taking the proper notes, asking the right questions, studying your curriculum, knowing exactly, identifying exactly what your objectives are to get to your next belt level and studying that. I think that's the fastest way to every belt.
Most things I've learned, quick way is not usually the best way. As far as a white belt, when I was growing up in jiu-jitsu, probably the best thing I did was keep coming to class. Don't get afraid to get tapped, because a tap doesn't necessarily mean you lost. You learned something, and hopefully next time you don't do the same thing again that got you tapped the last time. But as far as a good mindset, just, you know, it's gonna come. You know, it'll come when you least expect it. At least for me, that's what it was. It came when I least expected it. And it's not necessarily when you feel you deserve it. Remember, you are training under a sensei, a professor. You know, their job is to let you know when you're ready. And you might not think you're ready, but when they think you're ready, that's when it's time. You know, enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey. Because even after you get the blue belt, that's not the end of the journey. There's a long more road to go after that.